From here on out, every foul is flagrant, boy. Let's go. What's up?
You are now tuned into the chat room, your favorite baller's favorite podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Chatroom Podcast. I am the Senator. This is season 3, episode 24. And with me today, I got Coach.
What it do, y'all?
I got Fanfare. I got
Fanfare,
Essay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fanfare, you got something to say, man?
And on this episode, we are honored to have. There's a legend story that we're going to get into, but we're not going to get into it just yet. But he's the current GM of the Niagara River Lions. We got Mr. Antwi with us. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Excited to be here. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So what we're going to do real quick is we're just going to do 2 quick check-in questions. So my first question for everybody is, what is the last show that you completed?
So, like the series or just
last TV series that you completed?
Series, good Lord, I haven't watched none.
Like, is it that's still ongoing or like this?
It could still be ongoing, but there was a season finale and you watched all the way up to the season finale. You might be waiting for the next season to come out. What was it?
I watch so many shows and I hate the fact that this is the last one. I really hate the fact. Power Book 2, Ghost. Yeah, that was the last show that I saw the season finale.
It wasn't bad. The finale.
If you see all the other stuff that I watched,
okay.
it's bad.
Okay.
It's like Mary J acting like Monet bad.
But
wow. Damn.
I mean, all right. So, here's my question: does the Kanye docu-series count?
That counts. So if you watch all 3, then that counts.
That's the last thing that I watched. It was
Okay.
dope. Like I was super impressed with just like the fact that they were able to document 20 years of his career, which is like that in itself is crazy to me. So like I was impressed with that. The story, like if you follow Kanye, you kind of know a lot of the stuff that is detailed in that already. But yeah, just the fact they were able to document all that stuff that was crazy to me.
Okay.
Was it Genius?
Genius.
Okay. All right. You guys did Kanye. Genius. Huh?
Y'all didn't watch that?
Not yet. It's on the list.
Oh, yeah, I watched it. That was the last one I watched.
Genius?
Yeah, Genius was the last one I watched. I know a lot about the Kanye story, but I love to see the process of it. I love that people think like that stuff happened overnight. I love that people get to see like the process of him going through his journey, of people turning him like, you can't rap, just don't be a rapper, just produce. Him walking into rooms with like execs and him playing Jesus Walks, playing When All Falls Down, they look at him like, yo, can you get out of my office? Like
that's crazy.
Him persevering through that shit, it's crazy.
That's crazy. Like I was watching it and like when he went into like Rockefeller and he's there playing it and he's jamming it and he's feeling it and like
right.
and the girl's laughing at him. I'm like, yo,
he's
like,
laughing.
This is
taking
crazy.
calls. He's taking calls from someone else. Like, man, I want to hear you, man. Kanye, get out the office.
That's
the reason why that didn't interest me is because Dame already like talked about that before. So like it was already out there that they wanted Kanye just to be a producer, not a rapper. And Dame was the one that kind of was at one point said, no, you should keep rapping, right? And Jay just wanted him to be a producer. So there was always that divide when Rockefeller split and Kanye went with Jay and not with Dame, right? Because Dame was always like, I was the one that kind of believed in you a little bit more than Jay.
Right.
And you chose Jay over me, right? So that, like, I heard about that from before, like from graduation time.
Yes. No, yeah, like his story is something that has been documented. So like 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 most of the stuff has been out there, but to actually see it and like put story to visual and like connect those two, like that's the process that's the thing where I'm like, yo, that's pretty dope to me, you know, like because like seeing it makes it real, if that makes sense, you know. So,
does it show why he has beef with Talib?
No, it actually shows why those guys would probably have beef with him in terms of like, because like if you watch, you see why he like the guys who actually produced the whole documentary. There's a point in the time when Kanye started getting on, he was acting brand new with them.
Yeah.
He's got something like, stop calling me Cootie, and he's like, keep calling him out of his name that you want to hear. Like,
what?
Kanye started becoming Hollywood over time.
Damn.
He was because Cootie has a boy that was helping him with it. His name is like Cheek or something like
Cheek,
Cheek. And he was calling him that guy. And he's like, yo, we've been friends for like 30 years. Like, why are you calling me that other dude? And he's like, yo, I'm playing. And then he keeps doing it.
Up.
Like,
but then like
changed.
Like that part kind of like, I didn't want to take that part because like if you look at it, like he was like, oh yeah, Chike, and the guy's like, yo, stop calling me that, like, you know. And then after that, he's like, yo, you know, this is my boy Cooley. I known him for 20 years. Like he was making him up after the fact. So I don't know if he was just doing it just for spite or if he was doing it.
I don't know, but Cooley did not like that though. He was getting mad.
Yeah, you calling me out my name, man. I'm throwing hands, man. I don't care if you're a genius. I'm throwing hands.
Just one time too. Like it was like 4 or 5 times at his like album release party.
Yeah, the biggest part that I take from that is when Kanye told him like, yo, I'm just putting on an act. Like I'm just putting on a show right now. Like, so let me do what I'm doing. So you start to see like, you know, when the lights get too bright, sometimes these guys lose themselves.
One thing, like just a little bit, the one thing I wish they would have done more is gone into the whole thing after his mom passed, because like that was like a big turning point in his career, right? They touched on it a little bit, but But
remember, they stopped talking for a minute, so that footage would have been released. Like it wouldn't have been shot. They weren't talking for a while, a few years, 7 years.
Yeah,
he's 7 years off.
Yep.
So that's a whole 7 year gap of stuff that he didn't show. Like Kanye was going through all that stuff for that 7 years, and he didn't record any of it. So that's why he didn't get it.
I remember when he said I knew Kanye, but I didn't know Yeezy. I already didn't know Yeah. So he's like, he just had to re-meet him all over again.
Fanfare.
I would say probably Lovecraft Lovecraft County. That show was canceled way too soon. It was too real. Yeah. It was too real for society. It was too real for, I think it was on HBO. It was just too real. They couldn't take a show that was all black, and especially with that subject matter, they just like were basically blacks had power over whites. There was no way in hell they were gonna keep that show going. It just wasn't gonna happen.
For me, it would be Euphoria. Just ended Sunday or the Sunday before, something like that. Euphoria would be the last one for me. Shout out Zendaya, because she's doing big things in like the industry with not just directing but like acting, all that stuff. So
I thought you meant series finale. You just meant season finale.
I said
it's gonna feel like a series finale for
it's off for the next 2 years.
2 years. 2 years.
All right. Here's a question. So Coach K, it's his last year, last rodeo, all that stuff. And UNC beat them in the final game. What do we have to say about Coach K's career?
So I would think about this. So I am a UNC fan. All right. So I'm gonna start with this. I'm a UNC fan. And like for the life of me, like I understand Coach K is a great, phenomenal coach. He's been involved with Team USA basketball. He's like a lot of the NBA players swear by him. WNBA players swear by him. Like he has like almost like a cult like following. But if you look at his career, Roy Williams has everything over him. He has more NCAA titles. He has more conference titles. He has more like everything over him. And the fact that everyone is so caught up with the Coach K stuff, it's kind of interesting to me. Like Roy Williams doesn't get half the love that Coach K gets. So it's just interesting to kind of see that. But in regards to like the whole his career as a whole, it's been a great career, phenomenal career. Like, but that being a UNC fan, it's interesting to me. I hate Duke, but yeah. Grayson Allen, like Duke has a long history of assholes.
They're villains. They're villains.
Yeah, like,
They've always been the
Christian
NCAA
Laettner,
villains.
Like even the guy like Jay Williams, like I don't know, like he just exudes asshole. I don't know.
It's the culture.
The only stand-up guy player, the only stand-up guy they ever had on their team was Grant Hill. That was the only player, I think. That was the only like blue collar, like clean guy that they've had on that team. I think.
Honestly, like, and you look like look at JJ Redick, like down the list, like JB, like all these guys, like they just have that, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is about players, but like when you see them, you're like, okay, that guy, we went to Duke, like.
Well, they learned from the best. Christian Laettner, they all learned from the best. they saw what he did, right? They saw how he played. They followed the best. That's what they did.
Yeah, I guess, man. I don't know.
That's it, Antwi.
I'll let our illustrious guest go first.
Well, I think Coach K had a phenomenal career. I'm not the biggest Coach K fan in terms of personality. I dealt with him a couple times in terms of like recruiting some of his guys and just talking to Coach K like on a one-on-one basis. Not the most personable person, and I think the cult-like following supersedes his actual impact, because I feel like Coach K kind of started swaying into getting like one-and-done guys and all these other things after when Coach Cal started doing it on a high level. Then he started letting guys go one and done and kind of changing the culture at Duke to where he can accept the Jason Tatum or sway a Zion Williams to come to town and things like that. So I think he had a great career, phenomenal, but for me, he's not like my top 3 coaches ever, but he had a phenomenal career.
Yeah,
I echo those sentiments exactly.
I do as well. It's just kind of funny to lose your last game. It reminds me of the MJ's final All-Star game, and Kobe had those shots. Kobe made both.
For sure.
Yeah, it's like, hey.
But who is it? Is it Sean Marion or Jermaine? Who messes up? Sean Marion, Jermaine O'Neal? Who fouls somebody at the end of the game?
Jermaine O'Neal.
Yeah, and messes up. Yeah,
because he had like the greatest ending, and then that stupid foul.
Up. All right, one word answer, real quick, and then we're going straight to Coach after this. Who returns to the NBA first, Zion or Ben?
Jeez, damn. How much does Zion weigh right now? 3 something.
He's 350.
He just got back from Portland. They said he lost weight.
How much? Like a pound?
They said.
I don't know. He's back. He's back in New Orleans now.
I ain't seen no pics. No pics. It didn't happen.
So he's probably closer to 300, maybe probably 305.
Yeah.
But Ben is now week to week, not day to day, week to week.
What sense does it make to bring Zion back now? You have what? You have 15 games left in the year. Like, what sense does it make to rush him back? You might as well sit him, get him back, get in shape, and then have him playing, have him healthy, and then start back next year, like with everybody. Like,
here's an answer. Neither.
Ben's gonna play this year. Ben's gonna play just for the sheer fact that Brooklyn's gonna be in the playoffs, and they're gonna get past the first round. So he's gonna play. He has to play. If he doesn't play, then I don't know. Fuck, his career is taking a big hit.
I mean, it's Ben Simmons we're talking about.
I don't know what that means.
He should play, but like, woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Like, if we look at everything as Ben Simmons, like this is my one beef I have with people. Like Ben Simmons, okay, I can't speak to his mental side. Like, I can't speak to what he's going through personal. I can't speak to that. I don't know. Nobody knows. But Ben Simmons, a basketball player, is a great player. So like, all this shade that people throw on him, like, I don't get it. Like, yeah, he's not a great scorer, but he does a lot of things well on the court. So it's just, I don't get it. He'll be back.
He choked, and then had a history.
James Harden.
Huh? Yeah, but and nobody's letting James Harden off the hook for that either.
Like, a lot of guys are shooting before. It happens.
Huh?
I think Ben gets a lot of flack because he just didn't come back this year. This is the first time in history that someone in the NBA said, I'm not playing because my mental's not right.
Yeah.
Like, I never heard that before in anyone in the NBA as like a superstar. And then the way he looked his last game, him passing the dunks for like not being able to be aggressive in the court, and then just not saying I'm coming back because of whatever happened with Doc or the teammates. No one has ever said I'm not playing because my mental's not right. So I think that's why. But I think Ben will be back before Zion. I think definitely they're said week to week purposely because I don't think they want people to think he can be day to day and potentially play that March 10th game, which is the Philly versus the Brooklyn game. So they don't want him to deal with that. I think Ben will be back.
True.
Ben will be back end of next week, latest.
They don't want because the thing is that they have what 15, 18 games left. So like if they try and drag this out for like 2-3 weeks, then Ben's coming back with what 7 games left to play
Right.
and make a playoff run. Like that's I don't see that happening, man. Like I don't know, and people don't want to they want to admit it, but Brooklyn is like in hot water right now, man. Like
They are.
They're in hot water, so like they have to like they can't afford to lose first round, or they can't afford to like get blown out by like, if they lose versus Philly, like Brooklyn, like KD will be destroyed, Kyrie will be destroyed.
I mean,
like
they have
they
playing.
The
have
Raptors
playing.
are better than them right now.
Yeah, they are.
No.
Oh,
Brooklyn,
we're you said that like it's almost like even the Raptors are better. Like, no, we've been playing good.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, like I'm just stating a fact. Like, no, like the Raptors are better than them right now. Like, just the way we're playing, we're better than them. Like, they're not playing well.
Plus, they've been plagued with a lot of drama, man, a lot of issues.
Yeah. And I think what Brooklyn lacks is
off-court
culture.
politics.
Yeah, Brooklyn has
Facts.
culture. Even Steve Nash as a coach is not the best coach. Like,
I agree.
and they don't want to stay there. Right? They don't want to stay there. If
No one wants to say it.
win, they'll just hire Mark Jackson and hire a guy who's been there and done that, who knows about culture. Those guys, just like the first year when Kyrie kind of said, we don't really have a coach. In his best way, in his nice way of saying, like, we're all the coach. Like, Steve is like a player's coach, meaning he has no experience.
Yeah.
So you don't go from the front office to being a head coach of a team that fast and expecting, like, results. You can see his demeanor is not confident.
No.
Like, as a point guard, he was extremely confident on the floor. As a coach, he's not. He second-guesses himself all the time. So they lack culture there.
Yep. That's
For sure. Coach.
Cool.
All right, well, just diving into it, man. Like, if you're from Toronto, if you hoop in Toronto, if like you know the stories of Antwi Henry Carr, like you've heard all that stuff. But I guess my question to start with you would be like, where did your love of hooping come from?
My love of hooping came from I was a younger brother, and I had an older brother and older cousins when I was like 6, 7 years old. They were all like 10, 11, 12, and they loved playing basketball. At this point, I was really a soccer player. And I used to want to get on the court with them and just do anything my older brother was doing. So I fell in love with the sport that way because the competition level, you can kind of dominate the game more than you can do in soccer. And that kind of like bridged the gap for me to fall in love with basketball.
That was dope. So what position do you play? You play soccer? Midfield?
Yeah, center midfield, center mid. Yeah, so I was like Team Ontario, all that stuff.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so we know you went to Carr, legendary career at Carr, played JUCO. When did you begin to feel that, okay, I'm playing basketball now, I got some talent? When did you begin to feel that you were different than your peers and like you had a chance to kind of go play wherever in basketball?
Well, I felt like my first year of high school, because in grade 9, my team didn't have a junior team. Carr was Marion Academy first. We only had a senior team, and it was never been done for a 9th grader to play senior. We only had one team. So at this point, I'm in 9th grade, and all the players on the team are in OAC at the time and grade 12. So they're 18, 19 years old, 17, and I'm 14, 15 years old. And so I ended up making the team. And after I made the team, after like a week and a half, I ended up starting. So I ended up like playing heavy minutes on that team in 9th grade. And I knew like at that point in my life, like I can play this game well.
That's crazy. Like the amount of fortitude it takes to kind of say shit. Like I'm 14 years old playing with 18 years old and I'm starting. That's crazy. That's so crazy.
But remember I had a cheat code, right? Because my older brother was 3 years older than me. And then my older cousin was 5 years older than me. So everywhere my older brother went and my older cousin went, I'd always go with them. So they would never tell me I can't play. So anytime they made a team, I was on the team. So I had to hold my own against older guys all the time. So by the time I got to 9th grade, that was regular to me. Like I was always playing against older guys. Like if you were my age, I wouldn't even play against you at that point in my life. Like any like guys who are in 9th, 10th, 11th, older, I wouldn't have time for that. I was playing against college guys and almost guys in their last year of high school since I was in 9th grade and 8th grade.
I find it's always like that. It's always, you always have an older brother. The older brother is the one that's you're always behind him, and it's like when he's hooping, it's like, all right, you get your ass out here, like,
right?
You hoop with us. That's how it is. Because
he never took it easy on me.
Nah, yeah, you don't.
No,
he didn't take it easy on me. I remember the first time I beat him. I remember the first time I beat my older brother. I remember that day like yesterday at the back of the building. I remember, man. I got to game point. He's like, I'll let you shoot. I said, don't let me shoot it. And I shot it. And I hit that shot. I ran straight up. I lived on the 19th floor. I ran straight up to the 19th floor. Didn't come back down the steps. So I remember like yesterday. So yeah.
Did he admit it though?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of knew. I think that day was like a passing of the torch because every day he would like play me all the time. I was going in my grade 10th year, and I grew like 4 inches. I was like 5'10", and I grew to 6'1" around there. And I got like stronger, more athletic. I started dunking, and he's like kind of knew like this guy's like different a little bit because we used to go to games, and it used to go from me being picked last to me being picked first. So we kind of knew like I was on a mission that summer.
You guys played the no blood, no foul rules?
Yeah, we don't even call fouls.
Yeah,
you know what that is. In my neighborhood in Rexton, we even know what fouls is. You start calling foul, might as well leave the game. We're not respecting none of that. They'll keep playing like what? Foul.
Even if you're getting carried on a stretcher, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, good. and that's what helped me in high school, man. Like in high school, I wasn't one of those guys looking for calls. I was getting and ones not knowing they blew the whistle. Like, oh, I got fouled. Okay, cool, I'll take it. All right, I guess. Like that was a touch ball, but I'll take it. So it's cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like that's the one thing. Like me being in Calgary now, coaching college out here, and coaching like AAU out here and stuff. That's the one thing that I miss when I was in Toronto. Because growing up in Galloway in Toronto, like similar to Antwi's story, similar to that, like there's no foul call. Like and like if you've been to 4301, if you've been in Southside, you've been in the gym down there. The friggin' the rim is 10 feet tall, the backboard is 12 feet tall, and then the ceiling is 12 and a half feet tall.
Yeah.
So you don't have like you can't shoot on there. You know, everything got to be going to the hole, right? And you got freaking guys like Chubbs and Primo, all these guys who are like not necessarily ballers. You know, they're there to hoop, but like you go to the hole, and they're gonna hit you. They're gonna hit you in the ground. And you can't argue with these guys. You know,
right?
Pick your shorts up and go the other way. You know, and like. Being in Calgary and seeing these kids, like these kids don't understand that like you can't make it anywhere with a silver spoon in your mouth, you know.
That's
and,
like
guys from Rexdale, from Galloway, from Vern, like all across Toronto. Like there's stories all across Toronto about kids who kind of grew up like that and who are doing something with themselves. So that's the one thing that I miss being on Calgary, is just having that competitive edge and that you know, that kind of fire. So to hearing that from somebody from Toronto who has stories like that's dope to hear. So I hope my college guys are listening to this right now.
Not at U of T though. U of T they call foul on the air, the wind. Because you exhale too violently. No, that's a foul call. So U of T. Sorry to all my U of T homies who are listening. But most of those calls are on me. And vengeance.
So we kind of figured out like when you kind of knew like you can make it to the next level, but like when did it click to you they have a chance to like get a free education? Like would that be the same time? Like
no, I think going into grade 10, I didn't get invited to any like all-star or anything like that. And I was doing well. And I remember they had something called the Prep Stars stuff at Humber College. I live right beside Humber College. I lived in Humberline. So I wasn't invited, but I went over there and I looked on the list. And I told the lady in the list a fake name, like, oh, my name is, I think I said Sean something. And she's like, I looked at the name, she's like, okay, cool. Didn't do IDs those days. So I took the jersey. I knew the kid was probably going to come soon. So I didn't have very long to prove who I was. And I went into the line. I remember my jersey was 81. And I remember like in the layup lines, I would just dunk everything. And we'd be like 3-on-2, 2-on-1. And I just went crazy. And they blew the whistle when the Sean guy came. He's like, oh, we have an issue here. Like, there's a swap. Something's wrong. And then that's when Barry Hayes pulled me aside, like, what's your real name? I told my name, the door, you can stay. I made that team, ended up being the MVP of that team. My name blew up that summer, went to AAU, played AAU for the first time then, and got invited to Nike All-American camp all through that same day. That was the beginning of the summer, not being known, to like being the second player to go to Nike All-American camp with Denham Brown and all those guys. I was in the same stratosphere as those guys before that camp. So when I went to Nike All-American camp, I'm class of 03. So that's like Chris Paul. That's like Darren Williams, LeBron James, Luol Deng. Like, these are who Mustafa Shakir, like these are who guys who I'm playing against. So I knew right then and there, if I'm gonna line up with these guys, I can make it to the next level. And I think I'll rank like top 40 out of like top 200 players. So I went there unranked and left top 40, like top 10 in guard. So I knew I could do it.
Do you have any good stories from going against any of those guys?
Yeah, I'm Chris Paul. Chris Paul was 5'5" at the time. And I remember Chris Paul, we're all sophomores. So when you're a sophomore, you don't really know where you're going to play college basketball at. Mm-hmm. So Chris Paul walks in to the gym for the first time. And we laugh about this to this day. And everyone's like, we're in it's like a study hall section. We're talking about like maybe schools and Division I and clearinghouse and SAT. Chris Paul stands up in front of everybody, said, listen, I don't give a fuck where any of y'all from, but I'm going to play in the ACC for Wake Forest. Don't play against me. Everyone's like, what? He was 5'5". He was 5'5". I'm like, what? Who's this guy talking to? Then watch this. The worst part about it is he would get on that was the first day, so no one played yet. The worst part is he got on the court that next day. Oh my God. He was so fast. Like when Chris Paul was young, he was like, who was fast? He was John Morant fast almost. Because he was so small.
Jeez.
And then he'll pick everyone up full court. Like, you don't want to dribble against Chris Paul those days. Like, we're seeing Chris Paul now. Before, Chris Paul was a monster. Like, he was a monster. He, like, dominated the whole camp. He ranked number 1 guard in camp after that. So I'm like, yo, he's a real one. And see what he's doing now? It's his mind. He's equivalent to, like, he thinks, like, he's a monster and he's an alpha male. Like, he's in a room full of people. Like, I don't know you guys from anywhere, but I'm going to Wake Forest. If you're smart, don't play in my conference. You don't want to play against me. And sits down. And he's 15 years old.
Well, it seems like you guys have a similar mentality where it's like you knew, like, once I touched the hardwood, that's it. Like, yeah, like it's over. Like, I don't care who's guarding me. I don't care who's on that team. Like, that's it. You know, like, you took a chance by going under a false identity. You know, Chris Paul just knew walking into that room, shortest dude. He knew, like, no, I'm dominating all of y'all. Good luck.
Yeah.
Right.
That was crazy for me. And that's true. That's the mentality that I have. But to see him say that, like, I'll say, like, no word of a lie, he grew on me as a person, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, after that, I respected him more. Like, and that's how we became friends. Because I had the same, because I had to hold, I'm from, that time it wasn't about Canadian basketball players. That time they thought we were soft. Mm-hmm. That time they thought all we had was hockey. It wasn't like number 1 picks leaving here. It was like, how do you do a no-look passing from Canada? That's what he's telling me. How do you make no-look passes from Canada? What are you talking about? Basketball? That's what you talk to me. So I used to hold it like, I'm from Toronto, and I'm going to kill you guys. Have fun. Like, that's how I used to move it. So, yeah.
That's dope. Are you with State Farm?
No.
Just, I need to get. Wonder if he talked you into it, you know? If he's really a good neighbor. So what was your recruitment process like? You know, like, why did you choose the schools that you went to?
Oh, it was the best thing ever. I mean, it's everything you dream about. Like, you watch these movies, and first I started getting a lot of letters coming to my house, and I got, my parents are from Ghana, so at first didn't really believe this basketball thing was real. Like, what is this basketball thing doing? You're wasting your time, go to school. They started seeing letters come in from all these schools with my name written on them. Then they started hearing college coaches call, talk to my parents, and college coaches started visiting. Tom Izzo came to the hood. Jim Boeheim came to my hood. Like, It was a blessing. And then when I went on my visits, I chose Rutgers University out of high school because Coach Gary Waters and those guys welcomed me with open arms. It was in New Jersey. It was in the Big East at the time. And they're at the bottom of the Big East. And I wanted that challenge to, like, play in Madison Square Gardens against the best players in the world and beat them. And so that's why I went there. But it didn't pan out because the clearinghouse didn't clear all of my classes. That's why I had to go to JUCO for a year. So my recruitment process was phenomenal twice because I went to JUCO and then everyone else re-recruited me again. So that's when Arizona State, Kansas State, Illinois, everyone got to recruit me all over again. Went on all my visits. Last visit was Arizona State, and I signed there because Coach Rob Evans was a phenomenal coach and a phenomenal guy and didn't promise me anything. So you come in here, you got to earn everything you got. You're not going to start if you're not good enough. Simple as that. And I loved it. So
like, just to jump in a little bit, essay, like you mentioned all these schools. Like, was the process the same as is now? Like, how we're seeing like guys like Elijah Fisher and all these guys who are like saying, oh, like, these are my top 5 schools. Like, was that your process? And if it was your process, like, what were your top 5 schools?
Yeah, it's very similar. So you have schools that show you a little bit of interest at first, and then you have a school that may just come on in the beginning and offer you a scholarship. Like they may just look at you one day and be like, you know what, we want to offer you the scholarship for this year. And my top 5 schools coming out of high school was Syracuse, Michigan State, Michigan, Rutgers, and Texas. I chose Rutgers. When I went back to school for JUCO, my top 5 schools was, because I was in Dallas for junior college. My top 5 schools was Texas, Texas A&M, Kansas, Kansas State, and Arizona State.
You went with Zona. So
yeah, I mean, I seen them palm trees, man. The palm trees change your life, man. It was December when I went on my visit. My birthday's in December. I was in a t-shirt and shorts. Never seen that in my life. And that changed my life. So I'm a Sagittarius. I was in a t-shirt and shorts in December. I'm like, I gotta come here.
Wait, you've never seen a t-shirt and shorts in December in Toronto?
Yeah, I have, but
we know.
Palm trees change your life, man. You see them palm trees?
Oh
man.
yeah.
Facts. Man.
And it was the #1 party school in the world at the time. So I knew if anything else, I'm gonna have a great experience. And that's what I was going for.
Yeah.
I heard that Arizona State, I heard that like UCLA, I heard that like those are like huge party schools in the West.
Party schools.
Yeah, we've been #1 for 10 years. Been #1 school, party school for 10 years, Arizona State. Scottsdale, Arizona.
That's crazy. I gotta go to Arizona. But I'm scared of them damn Scorpions though, man. Fuck.
No, they're not even out there like that. You'll never see them like that. No. I've seen one Scorpion in 8 years in Arizona.
Damn.
Yeah.
Everything.
You live in Jamaica?
Hey, Jamaica don't have no damn scorpions like that.
Okay, but they have other things that train you. Have you not seen a Jamaican rat?
Yes,
it's like a puppy, but it's a rat.
The only place you should be afraid of is Australia. That's the only place.
Yeah, everything Australia kills you.
Yeah, right.
Everything Australia kills you.
Facts. So now, take us a bit on just like you went to Arizona State. Now you're under the big bright lights of the NCAA. So what was it like, playing in the big tournament?
Oh man, my first year was phenomenal because, the coach that recruited me there, my first, I think 8 games, didn't start, I came off the bench. And I was like the 6th man and I had to earn it. I ended up starting going into Pac-10. My first ever game in the Pac-10 was against UCLA. That's when they had Jordan Farmer, Russell Westbrook, Josh Shipp, Kevin Love, all those guys are #1 team.
Jeez. You played some hoopers. Damn.
Yeah.
Ryan right there?
Ryan Wright was there. That was Ryan Wright's first year. He's a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan Wright that's why it was cool. So my first ever start was against them. And we lost, literally, Jordan Farmer had a buzzer beater against me. Been left-hand layup against me. I had 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. We were beating the #1 ranked team in the world by a point with 30 seconds to go. And we got a timeout. We came down. Our guy on our team, remember, it's a 35-second shot clock. Guy took a quick shot for no reason, and they got the rebound, and they called a timeout. We should have held the ball to make them foul us. He didn't know what time it was. And then I remember telling the coach, like, listen, they're going to go to Jordan. We should trap Jordan and make someone else beat us. Because this time, Jordan Farmer is the best player in the world at this time. People don't know Jordan Farmer. Like, he left after the Lakers and all that stuff, left NBA early, whatever. He was that guy. Trust me on that. Like, Russ and those guys weren't even nowhere near Jordan. He can do everything. And says, let's trap Jordan. Coach like, no, don't trap Jordan. He's not going to try to shoot. Listen, that ball went in Jordan's hands. He looked around at everybody like, clear out. Jab step, I rode him to the left side. The big guy didn't even help. He stayed and looked at him. Like, there's a picture, if you look on Google, of the big man looking at him like this, like a left-hand layup. Like, bro, crazy. And then the next, which was bad. Like, we lost him at the buzzer. But that's when I knew, like, we're close. Like, we're not that far. It's the #1 team in the world. And in the Pac-10, it's like, you play the LA schools together. So you play UCLA, then USC. When you play Oregon, then Oregon State. When you play the California teams, it's California, then Stanford. So the next time we played USC, that was Nick Young, Gabe Pruitt. I think, was DeMar there yet? No, Taj Gibson. DeMar came the next year. DeMar and OJ Mayo came the next year. So we beat Nick Young and those guys the next game. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it was a great experience. To say that, it was a great experience. My first year, I got newcomer year in the pack. Phenomenal experience. Then all of a sudden, my coach gets fired. So the coach that brings me in gets fired. Then a new coach comes in. And I'm going into my junior year because I had a year of JUCO. So it was like a whole different change of things. And things got changed a bit. And I went from playing like point guard, leading the pack in assists, leading the pack in assist turnover ratio, newcomer year in the pack, So the coach put me at the wing. Then after the coach put me at the 4. So I went from covering Jordan Farmer to covering Kevin Love. So it's like a flip-flop. So it was crazy. So, but not to say the least, it was a phenomenal experience. I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's dope. That's dope.
Like,
Right. So you had it.
Wait. I want to jump in a little bit. So you talked about playing out west, playing guys like whatever, like Farmer, all these guys. Who were like a few guys from college who you matched up against? Who you're like, shit, like this guy is like legit. Like you talked about Farmer, Brandon Roy.
Without hesitation.
Best player I played against in my life. Best player I've been on the court with in my life. Period. No, there's no question. Brandon Roy and I had to cover him. So the first game we played against Washington, and we have a relationship, so we have respect for each other. Brandon Roy, you can't do nothing with him. There is an interview of Kobe saying Brandon Roy's that guy. And I knew this when I was in college. So I'm defending Brandon. And need to remind you, he just beat us the last time we played him. He had 37 on us. I didn't cover him that game. So when I covered him, he had 17. He was like 6 for like 21. But it wasn't because of me. And he kept reminding me that. It's not because of you, Twee. I'm just missing. You can't speed him up.
I mean, you could have taken that with you, but
no, I gotta be real here. Listen to this. So you can't speed him up. You can't make him change his gears. You can't ruffle his feathers. He's the most calm, collective. He is Luka Doncic and / Cade Cunningham in one. He can make any shot on the floor. He can make any pass on the floor. He can make any read on the floor. And he just wants the ball in crunch time. This guy he's phenomenal. He's the best player I played against in my life. It's not even close. So to see Kobe respecting the way he did when he came to the league, I was happy. Like, yes, people see it because I've been saying it.
Yeah.
And he had no cartilage in his knees at this time. He had no knees like doing this. Like, what? How?
In college, was like that too? He had no cartilage still?
I'm talking about college. He had no cartilage in his knees. He had to take a year off because his knees was messed up. He was a redshirt player because his knees was messed up. He took a year all the way off. It was on bone, bro. He'll go after games, just ice his knees. He wouldn't even come out after games. Ice knees for like an hour and a half.
Jeez.
And it's incredible to me that continued to plague him throughout his entire NBA career.
Right.
And then it ended up being both knees.
Both knees, right. Then it was done after
that. Was it for him. You had retired. Just couldn't bear the pain. Couldn't do it.
Yep.
Crazy, man. Just cut too short.
Right.
We'll never know what he could have been.
Right. They don't even know about B. Roy. They hear about B. Roy like, who's Brandon Roy? Who's that?
Yeah.
You got to go check out B. Roy, man. He's a monster.
The footage is still there.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Check him out. Game winners on Code.
Yep.
Imagine, man. Just imagine. Jeez.
Yeah, he's serious.
He was cold. So.
Fanfare.
So you had a great career in the NCAA, amazing career, and now you're looking onwards after life after basketball, basically. How did you find that transition from being an elite athlete, top of your game, to the business side of the world?
That's a great question. I think I picked up reading, not in college. I didn't read a book in college. I just got my work done, which is how you do when you're in college. I picked up reading when I was in China, playing on a tour. The first book I really, really read front to back was The Alchemist. And I remember in that book, it was really, really had to find myself outside of basketball. And that's when I started doing different things. That's when I wanted to get into fashion. I wanted to get into philanthropy, get a community, something with the community from where I'm from. And that's where all these ideas started coming to me. But I never wanted to have it handed to me. So the transition was not easy, but it was easy because I had a vision in mind. I wanted to have my own youth organization to give back to the kids. I wanted to do something in fashion. And then I wanted to stay around the game of basketball. So that's when I created Youth R Us, which was a philanthropic thing for the kids in Rexall in Toronto. Then I created the Wire U Prep Team. And then I created Noir and Noir, which was Bon Noir at first, which was my clothing line. So all these stuff was right after my last game of basketball. It was already lined up. I was already working on everything. So the transition was smooth, but it was still difficult. I had to learn, everything else about the business side of it. But reading was my best tool. I would get every book about business, every book about anything, and devour it. So I started reading 60 books a year. That became my new hobby. And through that, my mind started building. I started growing. I started meeting new people. And the transition became easier because I found some mentors.
Okay.
Incredible.
So you hear that, kids? Read.
Yeah, you got to exercise your mind, man. You got to exercise your mind. for sure.
And so, you have all these projects and everything you're doing right now. Just you're a philanthropist in the community. But for you personally, like, what's something that you're passionate about? Like, what's something that you're doing for you?
I do a lot of hot yoga for me. But my passion project right now is honestly is being a general manager of not just my players, but giving them a visual representation, man, of not losing myself. Like, if you talk to guys like Mullins, whoever you talk to, they don't talk like, oh, Tweed's our GM. Like, Tweed's our big bro. That means more to me than anything. That they don't look at me as like, oh, just our GM. They look at me as the guy that can call anytime for anything, and I'm gonna give them not just good advice, but like, I'm gonna listen to them first. And I've been in their shoes before, and I feel like I give them a visual representation of their voice in the front office. I don't just act like I'm somebody new because I have a suit on, whatever the case may be. Like, I give them like who they can be when they're done playing basketball. That's like my passion. It's like, give these guys the next level or next avenue. Suppose you don't play basketball and you're at home watching, you can, like, I want to do something like what he's doing. Cool. Here's how you do it.
Do you think there's an ultimate goal, like maybe possibly NBA? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's not even a possibility. I'm going to be in the NBA, just a matter of time. Okay. Like, I have a bunch of interviews this summer at Vegas, but I actually love Niagara because of the autonomy I have. I love Niagara right now because I could basically like craft a team and craft a culture, and I'm learning more about that now versus going into an NBA team right away, and you have to kind of like be part of their culture. So what I'm building now is going to give me transferable skills for the NBA. And when I could like get opportunity to be there. So I love every second of the journey.
So I got two questions for you. And then Coach has a segment for you. But first one is, what advice do you have for just the younger generation, whether they're athletes, what advice do you have for the younger generation to advance in whatever career that they're trying to do?
The first one is, don't be afraid to ask questions. I feel like if when you're young, you need to be asking a lot of questions to any and everybody, because you have to be a lifelong learner. You can learn from anything and anybody around you, whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing to do. And that's why you ask questions. The second thing I'll possibly say is probably the best thing to do is, anytime you want to like be great at something, make sure you put your 10,000 hours in. Do not want instant gratification. Do not look at someone's Instagram story and think that you need to be where they are. Don't look at the finished product and want that. Understand there's a journey. There's a beauty in the struggle. You got to go through the grind. You got to put in your hours. You got to put in your time. You got to take your steps and follow your own path. You don't got to look at someone else's life and be like, that's my goals. No, you got to be your own goal. You got to fight that person in the mirror every time.
Okay.
Great advice.
I also did a little bit of research, right? So my question is, when you become an NBA GM, right? Are you going to be the first NBA GM to put out an album?
No, I think I'm more in a producing lane. I'll be the first NBA GM to executive produce an album.
Okay.
Yeah.
DJ Antwi.
Because I went back, I saw an interview you did, and you were spitting some bars at the start of the interview. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So, for sure. I got bars on the low.
That's right.
Yo, drop a quick 8.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that to the
Yo, Senator, drop a beat.
That's good research, man. That's good research.
All right, so this next thing called Quick 5. So basically, I'm asking you a question and just give me your 5. All right, so the first question is, you plus any 4 you've hooped with, pulling up to the gym, you need a W. Who's your 5?
Brandon Roy, James Harden, Jaron Shipp, who's my college teammate, Ike Diagu, who's my college teammate. That's 4, right?
Yeah, it's 4. That's 4. So you'd be the one?
Yeah, I'm the one. But we're interchangeable. I can be the one, Brandon can be the one, James can be the one. Jaron is our shooter, and Ike is our big.
That's dope.
And we all can cover 1 through 5, so we're good.
That's dope.
Like
you have anything to say?
Yeah, what?
So you have anything to say?
About what?
I'm asking the question because he said they can all cover the 5. And you
1 through 5. 1 through 5.
1 through 5.
They all cover 1 through 5, and you included James in that. So you have anything to say about
About James Harden's defense or lack thereof.
Nah, James locks in, man. When James plays post defense, James locks in on defense and in the post. He's great in the post.
I mean, sorry.
Yes, the strip club is good. Here's the thing that people don't understand. The strip club is good balance, man. You have to have a good balance in life.
Work-life balance, that's facts.
Like work-life balance. Like who doesn't want to go to the strip club and have a good time? Some guys go to the strip club, some guys go gamble, some guys go play golf. It's all a form of balance. And that's what
it's not hurting nobody.
No, you're helping people. We're paying education to You're putting people through college.
He's sustaining the economy.
He's sustaining the economy. So it's a good balance, man.
Putting food on the table.
Everyone has their vice.
Damn.
Okay, that's a great way of looking at it.
It's a fact. Everyone has their vice, man. And as long as you're not hurting nobody, and you're not doing drugs, you're not doing alcohol, like not drinking excessively, and you're taking care of people, man, enjoy your life. You like the strip club, man, go enjoy the strip club. You never heard of no issue of James with a woman, doing something to a woman. Nah,
exactly. Yeah.
Going out there, putting them girls through college. Them girls buying Chanel purses because of James. So they love him. So it's all love. I enjoy that stuff. I enjoy seeing young men do that. But at the same time, please put some of that money away for the community. Yes. Please put some of that money away for your family. Please invest in other things like tech and reading programs for the community. Don't just do one thing. Have some balance in your life. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
For sure.
You know that it's very we just talked about in the group chat, but that J.R. Smith interview that he had where he was talking about putting him back in the community and how he was a dumbass, he was spending $50K in the strip club, just the senseless to doing that, and he's he could have supported 100 people in his community 10 times over if he just redirected that money a little bit, so. Hearing that is it just kind of reinforces that interview with J.R. Smith. If you ever seen that interview, that interview was fucking dope. It was good. It was good. I never thought J.R. all the memes and bullshit that he went through 3, 4, 5 years ago, all of that stuff, it painted this one picture of J.R. Smith.
Yep.
Right.
And to hear him in the interview, this guy is actually a real nigga. He's saying some real shit, that was kind of dope to kind of see that.
You got to realize though, what people don't understand, and none of us will understand it until we're in that light, is when you're in the light, you're not going to have those answers. You think Jairus wanted to hear about, why are you going to the strip club and throwing your money? He's like, man, I got another check coming in. Shut up. I got this. Relax. But now when you're removed from it, and the checks ain't coming in the same, and now you're going to college at a black school, and now you're seeing we don't have the same resources. You're seeing people are struggling. You're seeing, oh man, I was a dumbass. I could have been doing this, that, and the third. So now you're speaking out about it. It would have been different if he was actually a player currently speaking on the same problems or same issues. I respect him. I still respect JR. Swish is my guy. But I understand when you're removed from something, you get to see it more clear. Because Bron is doing what you've been talking about now. Bron got schools and all type of stuff. So you were close to Bron. It's not like you weren't close to Bron. Bron was right beside you when he was doing all this philanthropy work. You were still in the strip club. So you seen Bron doing this, you could have been like, you know what, big bro, how do I invest my money? Yo, big bro, how do I do some different things with my stuff? And that'd have been better. But I'm glad he sees the light now. That's all that matters.
For sure.
So I always want to give two sides of perspective. I don't want to make it seem like, J.R. Smith was some bad guy, but he had people around him that could have helped him. But now that he sees it, now he's golfing with Jordan. You know what I'm saying? That's amazing.
That's facts. No, for real. All right. So top 5 arena atmospheres you've played in your career.
Oh man. Arizona State for sure. UCLA. Wow. UCLA, the pavilion was crazy. Oregon was bad. Bad place to be to play, man. If you're visiting team, those fans. Oh, here's what people don't know. Stanford. Listen, those smart kids, they hit you with smart jokes, man. They hit you with smart jokes. They do because Facebook was out at the time. They know your girl's middle name. They research everything, bro. They're smart. So Stanford is a real place that you don't want to play against them because they have that smart shit going on and it's cool. And then also University of Arizona. That was our rival. So they treated us like dirt when we played against Arizona.
That's crazy. Man said Stanford and the smart jokes. That's crazy.
Man, bro, you would never understand. Those guys, they do research on you. They know your middle name, know your mother's name. They dig deep. They dig deep. At the free throw line saying stuff that you did in grade 7. Like, what are you talking about? Like, these guys, I don't know, man.
Your Blockbuster late fees are in the hundreds. You broke.
Like, just like what? Like, it's crazy, bro. Like,
you return library books late.
Yo, I promise you, when you play against a team like Stanford, you look at the crowd and be like, that was a good one. Like, good job, man. You did your research. I appreciate that. Like, you did a good job. It's crazy.
You being on the court as a player, what's the wildest thing you ever heard from a fan?
It was only some wildest thing was like racial stuff, but like not that
stuff.
Or cleverest thing.
Clever was when a player was saying like, fans, you need to go back to wearing 00. Because in junior college I wore 00. Like I got junior college, and the reason I was wearing 00 is because I was like, I'm not gonna wear 1 again until I get to college. And so he's like, you need to go back to wearing double. I said, what? It's like you know your junior college number? Go back to wearing 00. I said, oh man, that was a good one.
Damn.
That was a good one. That was at Stanford.
Yeah, they gave you a numbers joke. Jeez.
No, it became a point when I went to Stanford. Like the fans loved me, so they would leave me alone because I would always compliment them on their jokes. Like they like that, you like that what they're talking about. When you like get
homework and everything.
Oh, they do their homework. When you get mad at it, they feed into you. They start leaving me alone. They're like, come to the games and greet me. They're very, very respectful. Respectful guys. I love it.
Sick.
Yeah, it's dope.
Like I got a good one cooked up for you this game.
Yeah.
Okay, look out for it.
Yo,
been working on this one all week.
Oh my, it's crazy. And then when they see you respond to it, they go like, "Oh, you like that one, don't you?"
Yeah. Success.
Yeah. Guys with 4.0 GPAs,
It's
man.
so
It's
funny
amazing.
because we all have the image of this one individual in our head right now, and I bet you 80% of it is the same.
Probably for sure.
All right, so next one I got for you: 5 dinner guests, dead or alive.
Jay-Z, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Pac, and Nip.
Jeez.
That's a crazy
It's a
five.
crazy
That's
dinner.
in depth, that's intellect, that's insight, that's everything.
It's everything across the board.
Yeah, those are my guys, man.
Crazy. Only thing missing there maybe is a little comedy, but
Yeah. I think all those guys got intelligent jokes too. They got wit, got some wit to them. So
Muhammad Ali got some.
Muhammad Ali
I was
got
gonna
jokes
say
today.
he's got jokes.
Yeah,
Muhammad's got jokes.
he got some jokes, man.
He's got jokes.
He got jokes today.
Those
man.
1960s jokes are probably funny still.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For
And he said
sure,
with
for
a
sure.
little slur.
Yeah.
All right, so Senator kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but top 5 albums of all time.
Oh, we got Blueprint. I'll give Victory Lap just because Nip, the late great Nip. Nothing was the same. Drizzy.
Shout out
I
to
got Victory Lap, Blueprint. Nothing was the same. I like that Rick Ross Teflon Don. That's mean. That Rick Ross Teflon Don has Tears of Joy. That has Free. And then I'm gonna go with that one was crazy. That was like a motion picture. The whole album. He was in his bag.
Shout out Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League went.
Yes.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
bro, that was a movie. And then I'm gonna go with 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying. I think that changed hip hop. That was a big album, man. That was a 1 through 20. I think it's 1 through 21. It was a big album. We tend to forget 50 in hip hop sometimes because of his run, but that first album changed hip hop. Like for real.
That was my first album I ever played where I didn't skip a track.
No track was skipped, man.
Same.
First album I ever played where I did that. Like I love Reasonable Doubt. Like I'm a Jay fan. I love Reasonable Doubt, but 50 Get Rich or Die Trying was the first album where I'm like, yo, like I can't skip a track. Every track it hits. Every track has a story. Every track, not necessarily I can relate to, but I can picture it in my head. Like that whole album was crazy.
And that's why I didn't add a Reasonable Doubt because the relatability in Reasonable Doubt, like for some people, they just say they know it, but they don't really understand what Jay's talking about some of those songs. The relatability and like nothing
Saying
was the
there's
same.
Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah, everyone says Reasonable Doubt all the time because everyone else says it.
No, I was saying you have reasonable doubt that they don't really understand that album.
I have Reasonable Doubt. They don't really understand Reasonable Doubt. I got you. Right. So that's why I put Blueprint because it's more relatable. Nothing was
like
the same.
some people don't even know that he dissed Mace on Reasonable Doubt. Like
right,
exactly. That's how crazy it is. Like
exactly. over their heads.
Oh, yeah.
Surface level listeners. So
All right. Last one I got. So I did some research on myself on you, and I know
Damn, everybody's doing research. God,
damn,
I'm prepared.
So
I like the preparation is important. I like it.
Facts. So I know that you kind of started playing baseball, right? So my question to you is, your top 5 favorite baseball players of all time.
Oh, that's easy. Devon White, number 1. He's playing. Used to be the center for the Blue Jays.
My guy,
Devo.
Devon White.
Devo's my guy. All the swag in the world.
I think he was the first guy I saw that did the over the wall catch. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah,
catch.
yeah, I remember that.
And guess what? And Devo used to wait for the ball after you hit it to show that he's fast. Like, all right, I'm gonna wait till it goes a little bit past my head, then you go get it. So Devo is my number 1 guy. Ken Griffey Jr. Joe Carter. I love Joe Carter as well. Everyone from Toronto loves Joe Carter. I got to put Joe Carter in there. I definitely got Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is one of my main guys. And I think the last guy I have, I'll go with Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith, the late great Ozzie Smith.
Solid 5th one.
Yeah, I'll go with Ozzie Smith. I like Ozzie.
All right, so we know that you used to play baseball, you played basketball, you did some music stuff, right? So
yes, sir.
This is a continuing question that I'm going to ask all the guests that comes on here. Okay.
Okay.
It started last week. Jaheim has called out Usher for verses. Do you think that he could compete with Usher in a versus?
Jaheim can't compete with Usher's B-sides.
Damn.
It's not even a diss to him. It's not even a diss to him. Usher's catalog
it's
is
facts,
like
though.
It's Usher's catalog.
No,
is
it's
like,
facts. I just gotta ask all the guests now.
Only
that
Chris
is now
Brown and guys like that can compete with Usher, and he may not even beat Usher. Usher's catalog is crazy. Like the Confessions album alone was like crazy. So different level of artistry from art.
This man said he can't beat the B-side.
What up?
Yeah, the B-sides.
Can't even beat the C-sides, man.
Did you hear what Jaheim said? He told Usher stop running.
Oh my God, he wants to get a check. He's trying to get a check, man. That's smart, but go after a different target. No one's gonna believe that. You know what I'm saying? No one's gonna believe that. Go get Avant or somebody. You know what I'm saying? And go head to head with that.
I think Avant would still win.
Avant would still win.
Yeah, Avant would still win. But
yeah, Avant will get him.
But we reached a part of the podcast.
National anthem.
We reached a part of the podcast where we get to promote our social medias. And
this podcast has so many friggin' great titles, man. I'm gonna have a hard time picking a title for this one. So many, man.
We reach a part of the podcast where we get to promote our social medias and anything else that we're working on. So, Antwi, we'll start with you.
Social media at Noir. Right now, I'm just working on being a general manager of culture. I got basketball, I got baseball, I got fashion, I'm like gumbo. I got a lot in the pot. So I'm just trying to,
facts.
Keep a lot of work and regular balance. While I do a lot of yoga and read a lot, make sure I have that balance and just stay on top of what I'm staying on top of and take care of my family. So that's what I'm really promoting. Giving young Black men or young men in general a visual representation of like not success but like a story of what you can be if you just work hard and work smart.
For sure.
Facts.
Essay.
So my personal is at Pro Chatterbox. I also have my podcast that I do with Joseph, aka Berton Levy, called Talks with the Chatterbox. I know everybody is wondering when season 3 will drop, especially since we announced we're going to be on YouTube. Don't worry, we're in the kitchen. It's coming, and when it does come, it'll be worth the wait. I promise you. So for now, you can keep up to date at our social at Chatter Talks and on our website www.chattertalks.tv.
Dope, Coach.
Dope.
My Instagram is real_deal_Francis. And currently, man, this is March right now, man. So if you know anything about college basketball, March is the time. Everything. So it's the time. So the time of this recording, we just had a playoff game yesterday versus St. Mary's. We beat them by 30. So now we're going to the Final Four. We got Final Four next weekend. So we play. We play friggin' Lakeland next weekend. No, on this Friday coming up, and then if we win that, then we got Keanu, who's currently undefeated. Huh?
When you win that?
When? My bad.
Right.
when we win Friday, we got Keanu on Saturday. They're currently the number 2 ranked team in the country, undefeated right now. So we got them, and when we beat them, then we're off to nationals at Humber. So
Dope.
So really, really exciting. It's exciting time coming around right now. I'm tired as hell, but I love it, you know. So yeah.
All right, fanfare.
Yeah, you can just follow me on IG, Chaz_Tenenbaum. And also my Dilla book came today, so can't wait to get into that.
Dope.
And you can follow me on
Keep right now, man. Happy as fuck.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at The Senator. Don't forget to check out the Not So Soft podcast with myself, Nino Rockwell, Kino the Great. New episodes comes out every Monday. Don't forget to follow the Chatroom Podcast on Instagram at the.chatroompod. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok at Chatroom Podcast. Don't forget to like, rate, subscribe, and share the Chatroom Podcast, not just on YouTube. It's very important on YouTube, but not just on YouTube, but to any audio place that you listen to it. Just make sure you show some love to the podcast. And new episodes drop every Tuesday. So make sure you lock in, share it, let your people know. Get them to come holler at us.
Facts.
And last thing we want to say is special thanks to Antwi for taking the time out to come and join in with us. We had Mullings on season 1. It's real dope that 2 seasons later we're able to have the GM of the team on, and just a cool guy. So appreciate you coming on.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you guys for having me. It was good vibes, man. You guys keep doing what you're doing, man, and you know I'm definitely gonna show love and support.
I appreciate
that. Appreciate that.
I'll be in Calgary next week too. Actually, this week.
Okay.
Yeah, we got the BCLAs in Calgary, so I'll get there on Friday.
Okay. Oh, that's with Matthew was playing on that early in the first round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. On early. So I actually coach his younger brother at State, so it's kind of dope.
Oh, that's dope.
Family affair, you know? Yeah, family affair.
That's dope.
And this has been the Chatroom Podcast, your favorite baller's favorite podcast. And we are out.
Peace.
Peace.